Hello. Hey everyone. I'm just gonna hang out and pour some tea and wait for people to show up and say hello. Today I am drinking some Second Breakfast by Tabletop Teas, which is my favoriteest tea company to get tea from. It's run by my bestie Tanya. And so I thought I would drink some of that. It's just a black blend, not unlike oh hey Naomi. Not unlike English breakfast. It's just a black blend like that, but it's nerdy, so it's Second Breakfast. So that's what I'm drinking today. It's gonna be a real chill stream today. Notifications. Oh good, fantastic. Hi Sarah. I hope everybody is having a lovely Friday. I had a very leisurely Friday because it is my Friday off from my day job. So I had to get the kiddo to school today, but at school, they're homeschooling, but they're doing it at their dad's house, so it's consistent. So I had to get them up and take them to school today. And after that, I just came home and I had a lovely, leisurely morning. Um, Hi, Fanny. Nice to see you. I don't know what time it is there. What time is it where you are, Fanny? I am terrible at time zone conversions. Um, there's a thing in America where I grew up on the East Coast, so it's the Eastern Standard Time, and they used to do like for commercials, and they would say what time a show was going to be on. They would say like, "Oh, airing at 8/7 Central," and that's how I remember which way the time zones go. Um, Because I'm useless. So, hello everyone. Hi, we're getting more people saying hello. Lurker here. Hey, no shame in that. I'm just happy to hang out with you today. The tea is scrumptious, Rachel. It is delicious. I probably should say more about it again. It is Second Breakfast by Tabletop Teas, and it is just a black tea blend. It's really like earthy and malty. It's really nicely blended, very balanced, not unlike an English breakfast tea. But again, it's nerdy, so it's Second Breakfast. And it's very delicious. And you can find them at tabletopteas.com. I will put the link in the description after I'm done with the live stream. This will be staying up. I have had some people tell me that they really like it when I keep my live streams up. So I will go ahead and keep this up and it'll be just in the playlist under live streams. Hello. Oh, it's 8 p.m. in the UK. Fantastic. So I'm glad for you guys to take your uh to take some time out of your evening and hang out with me. Like I said earlier, it's just going to be super chill. I have some notes about things that I want to talk about later. Tell me what you're drinking. I love to hear new things from people. I've actually bought a couple of teas from people who have said things in the comments. I'm like, tell me what you're drinking, and they'll tell me, and I'm like, that sounds delicious. Please tell me where I can buy it. And then I do because I have a problem. It's not a problem. My problem is the storage space. That's my problem. But I actually just came up with a new Earl Grey Moonlight. I have a tin of that. I actually have a whole I don't buy from Adagio anymore. I have some problems with them on a personal ethical level. But I do still have some tea back from when I did buy from them. So um I still do have a whole like tin of Earl Grey Moonlight. And what was their other one? They had an Earl Grey that was had butterfly pea flowers in it that they only did, like, not during the full moon, but I think during, like, eclipses. I don't know, I have a few bags of that too because it was good. Most recent set of fairy tale teas. Oh my god, Shasta, same, same. I actually need to go buy more from Fairy Tale Teas is, a Black-owned company that has, like, these really amazingly, like, light fantasy, um vibes to it, and there's just, like, all pastels in all of their teas. You can get them with edible glitter in it, and it's so good. I need to buy more because I'm almost out actually, and, I my kid loves it. Like, I actually ended up getting an extra pack of their edible glitter so that we could put sparkle in other teas. So good. Um Bella Luna. Yeah, they do have so they have one Bella Luna, again, Adagio. They have one Bella Luna that only sells during full moons, but they made a second one that was only sold during eclipses. And a couple years ago, when we had like two eclipses back to back, I ended up buying a whole bunch of it, and it was okay. It was pretty good. I think it was one of those things where it was like I bought it because it had butterfly pea flowers in it, and there were not a lot of other, um, like, tea, sellers that were doing things with butterfly tea yet or butterfly pea flower yet, and that's the thing that has a lot of the, blue to, like, pH reactive things. So, it brews up blue, and then, you put lemon juice in it, and it turns magenta, and it's really cool. I love it. Mm, let's see. Mackenzie's Pumpkin Jack Hard Cider Brie, fantastic. That sounds amazing. I would like to try it. I will subscribe to your newsletter. Please tell me more. I love cider. It's one of my favorite things to drink, like as an adult beverage, because I find that it doesn't have a high enough alcohol content to bother me. I can drink one of them and I don't end up, now that I know I'm one of the older costumers out there. I can't drink a lot of alcohol anymore without it affecting me pretty badly the next day. So, I mean, I say like I'll have like a gin and tonic, but it's really like a little bit of gin and a lot of bit of tonic. Um, but it's fine. I just don't drink a whole lot of anything anymore, which sucks because I actually really enjoy a good like cocktail or mixed drink. Like there was a point in my life where I would love like I'd love to have a martini, but that is literally all alcohol. And I have like little tiny martini glasses now that I just can't um I can't I can't do that anymore. I can't drink like a whole martini or I am just completely zooted for the whole night. Um Sugar Shameless Shapes, almost 40. Hashtag, yeah, I will be this December actually. So that's gonna be, I don't know, I feel like I should do something fun. I should do something crazy for like my 40th on the channel. Suggestion box open. Tell me what to do. I'll do something really cool and fun, I guess. I don't know. I don't usually celebrate my birthday really big, but maybe this year is an exception. Um, Amelia says there's a lot of teas with blue pea flowers in them now, and I want to try them. Oh, are you allergic? Oh man, that sucks. I'm so sorry. Uh, is it that chemical in it that you're allergic to? Because there are a lot of other things in nature uh that have that same chemical in them. This is why I script all of my videos, by the way, friends, because I cannot with the speaking if I don't have a script in front of me. So bear with me. Um, but there are a lot of things out there. Like cabbage has it, red cabbage. Violets actually have it. So if you do like a violet tea, if you're not allergic to violet and you like floral flavors, I have friends who don't. I do, but I love them. But that actually also has the same blue um pH reactive. Anyway, it's cool and I love science. Also don't drink Empress gin. Amelia, because that also has butterfly pea flowers in it, and I don't want you to die, even though it's delicious. Fennel tea. Fanny, you're like the third person in the last 2 weeks who has told me about fennel tea, and I feel like it's a sign, like the universe wants me to try fennel tea. I've never had it, but it's like I'm intrigued uh, by it. Let's see. I know I'm kind of jumping around. Eclectic Good says G7 strong XU instant Vietnamese coffee. Oh my gosh, my partner loves Vietnamese coffee. He whenever we will go, like if we go out and there's a place that has it on offer, like he will always get it, which is fantastic. Um for me, because usually the same places that have that will do like a Thai iced tea, and I love that too. So but I can't drink coffee. So like I'll have a sip of his and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's why I don't you should drink this whole thing because I don't want it." Um which is why I always have tea. Fun story, I actually like sensitized myself to caffeine for a long time because I was working at a bookstore in a bad living situation with an ex-boyfriend of mine, and he made it a very hostile environment to live in after we had broken up, but we were on the lease together, so I couldn't move. Like I couldn't break the lease because I was anyway. Um, so it was not a good place to be. And so I would go to my work at this bookstore, and I was a shelver, and I would shelve like, and I would get there at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh my gosh. And like I would just live on the free coffee that we got from the cafe. And I drank so much coffee that for like 3 years afterwards, anytime I would have anything with like a high concentration of caffeine in it, soda, tea, some chocolates, I would throw up. I made myself completely sick on it. And even now, there's something about like, I feel like I should try like cold brew or something if I'm gonna try coffee, because there's something about the caffeine and the rate of caffeine release and the acidity that just it still turns my stomach to this day. That was like a really long time ago. Let's not go into how long ago it was. It was a long time ago. Oh, Harold! Hi, Harold. Harold is my favorite badger. I adore him. Hmm. Frolicking in a serene space with the people of your choice. So okay, he am I crazy though? I kind of want to do a medieval picnic. I mean, it's going to be December, and even in Texas, that's going to be like cold and like damp. Um, but like kinda I wanna. I feel like that would be fun and just do like an actual picnicky and like film it. And I feel like that would be really annoying though, because I would have to be doing the picnic and also filming the picnic, and also like my friends will put up with me, so I'm not really worried about annoying with them or annoying them with it. But maybe I could get like some other people to man cameras for me. I'm gonna write that down. Birthday medieval picnic. This is gonna end up, like, in my notes app or something on my phone, and I'm gonna end up, like, on Hank Green's, like, on, TikTok, stitching Hank Green's, like, "Tell me about your cursed notes app" screen, and it's just gonna be medieval birthday picnic. Oh, Magpiety is here. Magpiety is Tanya. She is the one who blends my tea. I am drinking second breakfast tea. I am going to be really relentlessly annoying with that, this whole thing. Anyway, yes, hot beverages. We could do like a mulled wine, and that would be really fun. Like some warm mulled wine. Um, tap Sugars, shameless shapes. I'm sorry, I don't know. Like, I want to call you Sugar, but I kind of want to call you Sugar. Anyway, tell me what I should call you. But they say we had a tavern and game night once with period games and stew and drinks. That sounds amazing. Um, I would love to do that. Oh, plus a get ready stuff. Amelia, you're brilliant. Like we all get ready together and film that part. Okay. Yes. That's fantastic. Rachel, yes. Interesting tea fact. Tea steeping releases a special chemical called L-theanine that is thought to dampen the jitters you usually get from caffeine. Yes, that is why I have a better time drinking teas than I have drinking coffees because it dampens that caffeine uptake. Um, which is why I can drink like even a very strongly brewed black tea and not feel sick, as opposed to coffee, which still makes me feel sick. Anyway, I guess probably we're like 15 minutes in. I figure probably most of the people who are gonna be here are gonna be here or who are here. Um, Tanya says, write that down, write that. Oh, it's written, and don't think you're not coming. Like you are coming. I just want you to know that. So, happy almost autumn equinox. It's not quite autumn equinox yet. That's not happening until Tuesday, but I had said that back in March. Um, it's freezing still a thing. Please don't be super dirty on my channel. I don't want to get demonetized. Um, I had said back in March when I first took a break, that I was gonna do at least an Equinox, video, like, live stream release for everyone so that, I could just take a break and have kind of 2 weeks off, and by 2 weeks off, I mean I've started, like, 3 or 4 different projects, 4 different projects actually as of today that I am going to be moving along, like, taking video of them and everything. Um, so it's gonna be super fantastic. I feel like I'm actually a little bit ahead in terms of making sure that I can not be, like, chasing my deadlines, right? Because I feel like what happens is I have only the 2 weeks between videos to make the thing, edit the thing, do all the scripting, intro, outro, all of that stuff, and then release it, and I always feel like I'm cutting it right down to the wire in terms of that. And because of some of the plans that I have for the channel, I wanted to get a little bit ahead of that. And in March, because of the like Texas snow apocalypse, I didn't get too far ahead. Just because I really just needed that 2 week break and I needed the chance to kind of catch my breath after that really stressful event. And so while that was wonderful, I didn't actually get ahead, but now I feel like I'm kind of starting to. I actually have all of the filming done for the next video that's releasing 2 weeks from today. So I have to edit it and do the scripting and film the intro and outro, and that's basically it. And then once that's done, I can start working on the next one, which I already have started filming on because for some bizarre reason I managed to get ahead a little bit, which is great and also is a wonderful segue into one of the things I want to talk about and kind of get everyone's sort of view on. I put some feelers out for this not too long ago, but a lot of the people that I know, not a lot of the people I know, but a couple of people I know have started doing like Patreons or coffee subscriptions, not just not just like, "Oh, you can pledge me, 3." Oh, hi, Anne. Hi from Wales. Fantastic. Yeah, I am busy, but it's a good busy. This is not like a frantic busy right now. It is an excited busy. So, there's a difference, and I just want to let you all know that it's a good busy right now. Like, I'm really excited, especially for the things that are coming up. I really am pleased with a lot of things that I'm making, and I can't wait to share them with you. Um, but to kind of get back on topic, a lot of the my fellow customers are starting to open up things like Patreons or tiered coffee subscriptions now that coffee is offering that. And I kind of floated the idea of, hey, if I had something like that, would people subscribe? And I got, this was about a thousand and a half subscribers ago. So it was a while. I know I had to repour tea. So I have a whole pot here so I can just refill it. Um, but I'd put a poll up on my Instagram, on my stories, and said, "Hey, would you be interested in this? Like, would you subscribe to this?" And I got a pretty decently positive reaction to that. I had a couple people say no, and I'm not mad. Like, I'm never going to be mad if somebody's like no, because I never know why the no is. It could be because that's not my priority right now, or it could be because I just don't wanna, and that's perfectly acceptable answer. I don't want anyone to feel like they are obligated to support me in any way because anyone who ever just watches my videos is supporting me. Um, Now that I'm monetized, anybody who views this is supporting me, and I don't want anyone to ever feel like they need to or have to do more than that in order to be a real fan. Um, but that being said, I thought that maybe between now and the end of the year, I would think about it. I would think about actually making one and putting one out there. I do have a little bit of experience with doing um, like extra content like that. I've had a watercolor art Patreon for a few years now. And as I kind of have been moving away from wanting to do that as more than a hobby, as a side gig, I've kind of dropped off on feeling like I want to do that. But because I'm already having so much fun with this, I kind of feel like it might be time to consider something like that because I'm already doing a lot of the content and I'm in a place now where I can do things like offer a 24-hour early release schedule for, tiered Patreon members or whatever. And I have some other ideas, and I don't want to go like too deep into it because I want to take the time between now and I think the end of the year and practice making that extra content and releasing that extra content just to myself and making sure that that's sustainable because the last thing that I want to do is overcommit myself on rewards and things like that and then just have that be something that isn't sustainable because that's not fair to anybody who pledges. So I am going to, starting now until I think probably the end of the year, um, just do those things and see if that's a sustainable thing. And if it is, then maybe that'll be my birthday present to everyone is I will like release like a Patreon or a coffee tiered subscription because I think that would be super fun. And that's something that's been kind of percolating in the back of my mind for a while. So, um, hello from the east. Hello, everyone. Ruth says, "Do it, make one." Thank you. Um, I feel like there's a balance, right? There's a balance between having enough people be willing to engage with that extra content to make it worth creating, and not doing the thing because like I'm scared or I'm worried that it's not going to be received well. Cryptid Crow says hello from Vancouver. Hello, Cryptid Crow. You are in the correct space. You are here amongst the murder. I don't know if anybody saw like on Instagram and on TikTok, I posted this thing that was like, it's a put a finger down challenge to know if you're a crow. And obviously I got all five because I am. So it just makes me like smile when any like corvids show up to my live stream. Makes me happy. Mhm. So that's kind of the big next step, I think probably, um, as far as like exciting potential plans for the channel. So and again, I am open to any feedback on that, whether you think that's a good thing or maybe a not yet thing or anything like that. And if there are things that you would like to see, I mean, I have a whole section on my Notion app that is basically like potential ideas for rewards and stuff. So, but I'm open to talking about what kinds of things would you subscribe to see? Like, what kinds of things would make you, be interested in engaging with extra content in that way? So you can always leave me something here, little comment here. My DMs are open on Instagram, so that's probably like the easiest way to have a conversation with me is on Instagram through that. I don't check my Facebook page messages quite so often because I hate it there. But I still do. It just might take me a little longer. Hello, Lynn. I hope you're having a great day. My tea is getting cold. All right. More tea. More tea. Not splashing on myself. I am a honey in tea kind of girl. I know people have strong opinions about things that go in tea. I like honey. I am not a huge fan of sugar, but that said, I sweeten my iced tea with simple syrup, which is sugar. So I guess maybe, I don't know. I just like honey. Harold also loves honey in your tea. That's because you're a honey badger, babe. You're contractually obligated. And I also love doing, there is a honey company that is local to me, so I usually get local honey, not necessarily because I believe in, a lot of the like, "Oh, have local honey, you won't have allergies." Um, this is Central Texas, everyone has allergies, mostly just because I wanna make sure that I'm supporting local businesses and local apiaries. Tea honey, oh, everybody loves honey. That's fantastic. Which is not to say that sugar is wrong. Like if you love sugar in your tea, I actually just bought sugar cubes because I also like absinthe, so I wanted to do absinthe. Um, and it's hard to do absinthe with honey. It doesn't stay there, so you can set it on fire real easy. There are I'm gonna try and say your name, and I apologize if I say it wrong. Marjolaine, there are definitely some teas that I drink without anything in it at all either. Um, let's see, honey, good. Emily Randall says, "Would you consider leading a make-along series for something complicated like fitted stays?" Hmm. Potentially. I Oh, okay. So here's the thing. Um, My particular eras that I love more than anything else are usually ones that don't use stays. I love everything pre-enlightenment, so like Renaissance and before. And even the kinds of things that I love in the Renaissance tend to be like working class and di- I just use a curdle. So I mean, I've had a couple people who wanna see me make a curdle too, so I think probably that, but, I would not be, opposed to the idea of doing sew-alongs and, like book club, but with needles kind of thing. Um, I also think that there is something to be said for the idea of messing up publicly, because I there is a tendency among creators, and not just costume, but like creators in general, that want to present this really polished, finished work. And I understand that completely. I mean, doing I have like a whole subscription to a bunch of people that I'm there for, a particular aesthetic or a particular mood that happens. Um, and But I think there's something really valuable in breaking down this idea that creators don't mess up or that creators, have a smooth ride from start to finish. Um, because it's not always like that. In fact, it's rarely like that. But the downside to having this polished, edited thing is that people who are viewing this don't see that. That's one of the reasons why when I messed up the warping on my silk trim, I left it all in. Y'all saw me mess all of that up and have to go back and start over completely from scratch halfway through the video, because I think it's really important that people know that you mess up, and it's not always a smooth ride, and that's okay. I missed a lot of comments on my like contemplative messing up things. Let's see, chocolate rooibos with chocolate syrup and milk. Oh my god, did you have a cup of tea or did you have like a deconstructed milkshake? Because that sounds kind of good actually. So my piety, Tanya is reminding me of a time that we were at an SDA event together, and I was embroidering a cup cover, and this was before my partner was my partner, and he came over and was flirting with me by singing because he's a bard, and he sang all day, and I messed up my cup cover completely because I was just so smitten with him. Um, but at that point I only had a blog. I wasn't doing YouTube or anything, and she was like, you need to take a picture of this and put it on your blog because people only see the end point and they don't see the mess ups, and they like people should see you having to literally cut out 8 hours of work because you messed up. um, because people need to know that messing up is part of the process and that that shouldn't be the end of the process. I was really it was really valuable, and I've kind of kept that lesson, and I'm missing more comments. But yes, in any case, that's really important to me, and I've internalized that. So messing up, yes. Um, Showing a series of me doing something new and messing up, also yes, sure, let's do it. Uh, 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 um, Oh yes, Amelia says having have a beekeeper that keeps me well stocked in raw honey and beeswax. Yes, if you have your own personal apiary, like do it. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those, and like my closest person who has an apiary is in Dallas, and that's far away from me. That's a few hours, so I don't see that. Toad Hall tea. First of all, Toad Hall tea, wonderful. Are you a business, or do you just enjoy tea? Are you spilling the tea of what happens at Toad Hall? Because I'm here for this in any capacity. Um, Simple or small accessories could be great sew-alongs. That's true, and actually, that's one of the things that I want to do in future is um, we'll talk about that in a little bit because I'm actually working up a pattern right now for something that people have told me that they want to see, and I want to do a sew along with the pattern when I release it. So yes, absolutely, we will be doing that. Uh, uh, yes, chaos, show mistakes, fantastic, Odessa, I love it. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to read and be entertaining at the same time, and that's really hard. Let's see. Watching you cut through linen is really refreshing when other creators do the thread pull thing. Sarah, I'm very sorry to disappoint you, but the thing that I am making for my next video has thread pulling in it. And I wanted to do it mostly because I don't usually do it. So, but after, like, I'll probably just go back to my chaotic linen non-thread pulling because it is such a pain in the butt and it does take so long and it usually does break on me and I hate it. But it'll be a nice change of pace. Harold says, Ravioli says, heck the haters. You pet that cat for me. Ravioli is Harold's cat, who is precious and wonderful and perfect. And I need you to like right behind the ears for me. As an adorable story. Yes, we are terribly adorable. It's disgusting. I apologize. Oh, Benahime. I hope I said that correctly. I have no idea. Apologies. It's admirable to see you go back. I get extremely demoralized when that happens. So seeing people do it over is great. It is. there is a thing that happens in our society right now because of the way that um, living in late stage capitalism, right? Only things that are valuable to capitalism are valuable. And when you um, have a lot of thoughts on this and they are all jamming up inside of my mouth, and I apologize for not being able to like say it better or um more clearly. The thing about capitalism and late stage capitalism is that it values the things that it can commodify. And that means that in order to be successful by the standards of late stage capitalism, you have a very, very small margin of error, which means that often uh, the risk of messing up means that taking the chance isn't worth it. And I say that from from a business perspective. A lot that we are seeing a lot of things getting remade right now because uh, the sure thing of the remake um, is more desirable or more of a sure thing than a possible loss of like making a movie or a TV show um, about something that is a new concept, right? So that's why we see all these remakes and retellings and sequels and prequels and everything like that, because they are financially safer bets. For a lot of us who were gifted children, we were taught not to take um, chances, right? Because the success was the valuable thing, not the thing that we learned along the way, not the lessons. The success was the thing that was praised. So we learned not to take the chance of failure when success wasn't assured, right? So, anyway, like I have a lot of thoughts about this and the way that capitalism has failed us completely as a society, and the way that all of these things kind of come together in our hobbies, which should be the safest place for us to fail, right? Because what does failure mean in our hobbies? Nothing. It means we learned a thing. Um, and it means that there is no downside to failure. There is no risk, right? Because it doesn't mean that we're not gonna not be able to eat. It doesn't mean that we're not, we're gonna lose the respect of our peers. Like they all mess up too, but our hobbies should be the safest place for us to practice failure. And so when in our hobbies we don't take that chance and we don't fail, um, we are doing ourselves and our hobbies a disservice and all of the people around us too. And I don't have a huge platform. I mean, there's 5,000 of you, which is so amazing. But I don't have a million followers or whatever. But if I can if I can model that and I can help somebody think consciously about the fact that this is the safest place to fail. I mean, yeah, materials, and I understand that like not everybody has money or resources to be able to um, fail with materials that represent a significant percentage of their fun money. Oh, take a sip. Sorry. Still warm enough. It's good. Um, so I understand that everybody's acceptable like percentage of loss of their fund money or whatever is different, and that some people have a smaller margin of that. But this is the safest place for you to mess up because you're not going to get fired. You're not going to lose your house. You're not going to lose your family. You're not going to lose your friends. If you mess up a sewing project, it's okay. So, I don't even remember where I was going with half of that, except that, like, let's mess up together. We'll do that. Um, all right, thread pulling is so tedious. Yes, but those clean lines are addicting for hand sewing linens. Also, yes. The project that I'm doing next is all shapes. It's all rectangles because it's late Iron Age. It's Anglo-Saxon, early Anglo-Saxon, so it's all rectangles. So I was like, well, I'll just pull the it's fine. And also that's fine. Um, so let's see. As far as I've been told, local raw honey can help with allergies because it has pollen of the plants in your area within it. That is true. Whether that is a statistically significant enough level of pollen in order to actually have an effect on allergies is still something that is scientifically debated. But support local apiaries, and if your side effect is like fewer allergies because that actually works, fantastic. Like, do the thing. Um, Hi from Sweden. Hi. I always love to see how far-flung people are who are watching my videos. That's fantastic. I feel so seen. Yes, I'm sorry that I am attacking everybody on this channel, including myself. I make no actual apologies. Let's all suck together. It'll be fine. Practicing failing is super important. Yes, which is one of the reasons why I try to push Tornado to do things that I don't think they're quite ready for, because this is childhood should be the place where we practice failing. And I wasn't really given a heck of a lot of space to do that in my childhood, and I want them to have that experience of figuring out what to do when you do fail. So we practice failing a lot in this house. Uh, uh, Lynn says, unfortunately, another effect of this society is that as a fat person, failure in sewing means not having clothes that fit me. That is true. And that is, thank you for that, because that is definitely an area of privilege that I have, in that I can go into most clothing stores and expect to find clothes that will fit me. And I know that that's not a privilege that a lot of people have. So thank you for that reminder. Um, I wish that there was something better, a better way. And I will definitely say that in that situation, I don't think that's quite the same thing as a hobby. Um, because if I that is an area that is not necessarily so much a hobby for you, because that is a necessity to be able um to clothe yourself in a way that you feel good in. And if I can do that by going into a store and finding something that will fit me, then that makes sewing things for myself in a mundane way for like everyday clothes, then that makes that a hobby for me. That would not be a hobby for somebody who does not have that privilege. So when I say that that is the easiest place to fail and a place with low stakes, that is not a low stake situation for you. And so I don't want anyone to think that um, I'm making light of a situation that is not low stakes for you. Uh, so just to make that distinction there, I don't want you to feel like I am trivializing that particular struggle, because that's not what I meant. Um, let's see. There are multiple shades of right. Yes, absolutely. There are multiple shades of right. And there are many ways. This is something that I talk about. I try to talk about a lot when I'm doing medieval sewing, especially early period, early medieval sewing, because we don't have a lot of evidence. We have some pictorial evidence. We have some finds, especially when we're talking about late Viking, Anglo-Saxon stuff. Um, There are some interpretations that are more historically supported by archaeology and some that are less. But when it all comes down to it, we're all guessing. So there are multiple interpretations that I would consider correct. Um, oh, as a non-binary person, I appreciate you being inclusive when you talk about the past. I have a lot of family who are trans and non-binary, both family related by blood and chosen family. It is a thing that I feel very strongly about. I will always try to be as inclusive as I can. I also try to be as racially inclusive as I can. I know that that is an area that I could be better at, and that is a focus of mine that I'm trying to be better at. Um, but yes, inclusivity is incredibly important to me. So um, hello from Tasmania. Hi from Australia. Yes. Hello, friends. This would normally be the autumnal equinox live stream. For you, it is the vernal equinox live stream. Thank you for coming to this very special version that I did just for you. So I'm glad that you are joining me. I'm sorry it's so early there. It's probably quite early. But thank you for joining us. That's fantastic. San Francisco, I have never been to San Francisco. I lived in San Diego for a couple of years when I was a lot younger, when I was poisoning myself with coffee, basically. And that was super fun, but I never made it up to San Francisco, and I kind of regret that and would love to go visit someday. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, it didn't feel trivializing at all. I'm so glad. I don't want I'm a person who exists on many axes of privilege, and I appreciate when people remind me of it so that I can make sure to adjust the things that I say or explain the things that I say in ways that will make it clear that um, I acknowledge it and that I want to be better at being inclusive. So thank you for that. Um, see, Jennifer says, as a fellow fat person, I think that's why I started looking into historical clothing because it was made to be altered and adjusted. Yes, especially because, oh my gosh, bodies change so much. If you're a person who can bear children, your body changes so much between the time when you start and the during and then the after and then the after. Like, people don't exist in the same shape their whole lives. And this idea that things were made once and that's exactly how they existed as clothing for the life of that garment is modern, very modern. I mean, we don't unless you have a lot of money or unless it occurs to you, like we don't even take our normal modern clothes to be tailored to us. Sometimes we will for like suits, but a lot of times, like, we don't get our clothes tailored, so, uh, that's not a thing I think that exists in the collective consciousness of our culture, and, I am absolutely here for, like, continually altering clothes in order to fit our bodies instead of trying to change our bodies in order to fit into our clothes. And that is a thing that I have struggled with a lot this pandemic because my body is not the same shape as it was at the beginning of the pandemic. And that's been a struggle. I've run into a lot of things and internalized things that I've had to do a lot of work on, and I'm still doing a lot of work on. And it's frustrating because a lot of my clothes can't be altered because they're like modern clothes that are not made to be altered to fit a body that is, bigger in any dimension than it was before. Um, super frustrating, by the way. Anyway, yes, road trip. Fantastic. Let's do that. I It would be super fun. I have some other friends in San Francisco, one of whom is a super big YouTuber, and we have discussed the idea of like having a, together vlogs. V from Snappy Dragon lives in the Bay Area, and so I'm like, I want to come visit you, and we're gonna be nerds in San Francisco. And she's like, yes, we should do that. So, someday when it's safe to travel again, maybe it would be super fun. Rebecca, yes. So that's the thing that I'm running into too. I want to get things tailored more, wear my tailored clothes better, but the struggle is that modern clothing has no seam allowance. That's the thing. I mean, if you bought a size bigger and had it tailored down, like, um, it's possible. But if you're starting out with a garment that fit you and then it needs to get bigger to accommodate size changes, um, that's not so easy. That's not so easy. Uh, so yeah, and that's there are this is part of what I mean. To go back to what I was talking about before about capitalism thriving on narrow margins, right? In all ways. So it costs more money to put more seam allowances into clothing uh, than they're willing to spend. And like extrapolate that out to literally anything, and that's where capitalism lives, talking about like short staffing in retail and server industries, um everything. I mean, everything. Capitalism exists on narrow margins. Lynn, there's an interesting topic actually. Do we know a lot about how medieval dealt with pregnancy clothes wise? Some, and that is a really interesting rabbit hole that I am not actually going to go into right now because it is a deep rabbit hole and I would love to actually do a video on it. So I'm going to save it for that. But we know some. And some of that a lot of it actually comes from like manuscript images, which is the thing that I look at a lot because in the SCA, I am a scribe. So I do a lot of making manuscripts for things. So I look at manuscripts for a lot of different reasons. But yes, so Tanya's flashbacks to the nursing slits rabbit hole. Um, there's some speculation. Anyway, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole because I will be here and we've already actually almost hit an hour and I haven't even talked about like other stuff that I want to do. Emily says, never mind San Francisco, go straight to LASIS in Berkeley. Yes, that will obviously be on the list of things that we do if we go out there. Is it, absolutely, like I could spend a whole day there, probably. How much seam allowances do you leave on your clothes? I've only ever seen people clip them down after sewing. It depends on what you're making and whether here is the thing. I do clip a lot of my seams and I do when I am making medieval clothes, I will often fell seams, which means clipping. Let's see, this is a tunic that I'm making right now, and here is a seam that I am actually in the middle of felling right now. So these are 1/2 inch seam allowances, which I have clipped down on one side to 1/4 inch. And then the other side gets folded down over it and stitched down. That makes a very strong seam. Oh, hello, Barbara. I'm so glad that you managed to make it. Thank you. Welcome. Croeso, if you will, which is basically the only word in Welsh that I have managed to retain since I stopped doing my Duolingo lessons because I'm terrible at Duolingo. The thing about making your own clothes is that if you have some of the fabric, you can add more into a seam, right? So even if you clipped your seam down, you can undo, serged things. If you've serged them, you can undo flat felling if you need to. If you have made a garment, I always try and keep some. Oh, I do not have enough Welsh to have a conversation. We have gone back and forth. I mean, basically, I can ask him where his cat is, and tell him good night, and that's basically it right now. But don't worry, like I would love. Jimmy will toss out a couple of things in conversation with me, and I'm like, crap. See, good night, Anne. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you. See, I can read about half of what you just said, so thank you. Um, that's about where I am. But anyway, altering things is possible um if you have some fabric left over, right? If you have fabric left over, you can always add more to seams. And so it doesn't it becomes less worrisome. A lot of the problem with modern clothes is that we don't have any more of that fabric. So even if we could, let out all of the side seams, or let out, like shoulder seams, if you have like, you know, shoulders that need adjustment or whatever, have any more of that fabric. So what do you do? And that is less problematic if you have made something yourself and you still have leftover fabric, which I always try and keep some of for these particular reasons. That's the important things. Yes. Y- Everyone needs to know where the cat is. Actually, I was wondering, I don't know where Bran is. I think he's sleeping. He usually, oh, sorry. He usually gets real angry when I have the curtain up because the apartment is behind me. My computer is actually up against the wall of my apartment, and so I put this curtain up so that you can't see what my apartment looks like right now, because it's a mess. Because I started 4 projects, um, and so he usually will like yell at me for having this up, but I think he's sleeping right now. So sorry, sorry. Amelia, attempting to fell a seam on my first tunic. Congratulations, well done. Going much better than expected. Okay, so this is another reason why I try to be slightly less cinematic and aesthetic in my videos, and slightly more, this is how I do things. Because I think there's this like mystery cult of like, this is so mysterious, or, you know, th- I'm just doing the thing, but I'm not really showing you how I do the thing. That ends up like really mystifying people. And it's not as hard as people think it is. It's really a lot easier than people think it is. Um, and you don't have to be neat, it just has to be functional. So many interior seams on so many garments are not pretty, at all. I actually have a Pinterest board that's like the backs of embroidery, because people have this, thing where, oh, embroidery has to be as beautiful on the back as it is on the front. And I'm like, these people were making embroidery during a time where materials were expensive and labor was cheap, which means that they were going to make things as fast as possible in order to get the most money to survive. Um, they were not preoccupied with beautiful undersides of embroidery, because nobody was going to see that anyway. And it didn't matter. They weren't getting paid extra to take the time to make beautiful backsides of embroidery. No, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so yeah, like, just be functional. It's fine. Mm. Let's see, adding ribbon or contrasting fabric to add inches looks so obvious, but that's probably my anxiety. I mean, I definitely think there's a mindful way to do that, and a way to do that that makes it look intentional. And I think that that's absolutely valid. Um, you know, but I also understand not wanting to necessarily call attention to different alterations. So, um, I get it. Not being neat, being functional is a thing I've tried super hard to internalize. Yes. The thing about the Industrial Revolution, is that it created machines that made things superficially perfect looking. Because a lot of the time, you can have really sloppy machine sewing, and that's a user thing, right? But the function of the machine is to make a stitch that's the same length every time, right? And now we have embroidery machines that do embroidery that has a very polished look to it. Um, we also have in art um, a history of having very impeccably rendered art because before photography was invented, we had to document things um, relatively realistically. Like, once you got up into this idea, the Renaissance or whatever, that you could make things look lifelike. Um, and that became a priority, right? Before then, documenting things was still a priority, but realism wasn't necessarily one. Um, and we have now been conditioned to expect perfection because we have the yes, T Wheel says machine embroidery irritates me sometimes because I've had pieces where I buy where a thread comes loose and the whole thing starts to unravel, which is why I said superficially perfect, right? They're not perfect. But because things are even, or because, this machine creates something that is the same from piece to piece to piece, it is a superficial standard of perfection. So we start thinking that our handwork has to also meet that standard of perfection, without realizing that it is superficial. And so trying to remember that, this was a job for people who were embroidering things. Um, they were getting paid for this. Yes, even the ones who were in the church. Yes, even the nuns. I could go off on a whole tangent on, the nuns in Westphalia and the ways that they used their saleable skills to keep the pope and other like actual patriarchal overlords off their back in Westphalia. That's a whole thing that I could go into. That's fantastic. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do a German brickwork thing, and talk about Westphalia and the nuns and the cloisters and stuff there. Was fantastic. But anyway, this was a job, and the job needed to get done. And it was at the point where materials were expensive and labor was cheap. So conservation of materials was good, and also conservation of labor was good because you have to um, do the most. And in any case, like, it's just the whole thing. People weren't perfect. People didn't believe in perfection back then either, so it's fine. Um, well, we've hit an hour. I probably so a couple of things that I want to just touch on briefly, things that you can expect coming up soon. Um, I have a couple of the nun story sounds fascinating. Oh yes, I have stories about not only Westphalian like nunneries and cloisters, but also some other things that uh women did in the past to be able to leverage their own power, um to give themselves agency. Perfect. I'll talk about that another time, I promise. So some things that you can expect to see from me. I will be doing the next thing that is coming out will be my Anglo-Saxon Renaissance Festival remake, where I will talk about the Renaissance Festival that I used to do when I was younger and the terrible choices that I made, the not so terrible choices I made when designing that outfit, and then remaking it in a more historically um, with a greater level of historical fidelity, what we know about it, everything. So that's coming up soon. I have some fun things planned for October, including a pattern I'm designing a pattern right now, because a lot of people had said to me that they would be interested in having a London hood pattern available to them. Drafting instructions are not not difficult, but often it's easier just to have a pattern that you can refer to, especially for people who are doing like production sewing for other people or things like that. So I am working on a London hood pattern to be released in October. And so that is something that everyone can look forward to as well. What else do I have? I have a special Halloween episode where I will create a tunic for my partner that is based on a very, very popular pop culture icon. Um, I think you will all enjoy it. I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but as we get a little closer, there will be some clues released. Um, but so that's going quite well. And then I will have a shop update this weekend. I was hoping to get it done by the end of this week so I could announce it today. Um, oh yay, everybody's excited. I'm really glad. I do have a couple of other ideas for patterns. It will be on my coffee shop when it is available. It will be for download, so it will be a printable PDF pattern. Um, that you can just tape together yourself. It'll be all right. It'll come in three sizes: small, medium, and large. I may release I may actually scale it down just a little bit more for like a kid size pattern. But I don't know about that yet. I still have small, medium, and large. I might do like a separate one for kids later. I don't know. But in any case, I'm testing that pattern right now. I'm gonna have another couple people test it. I still need to write the instructions for it, but that should be out in mid-October, hopefully. Um, I do have like I said, I have a coffee shop update. I have some new pins, and then I have three smocked aprons that will go up probably Sunday. I wanted to get it done this week, but it just didn't happen. So I'm gonna work on them for the rest of the day and tomorrow. Um, and so that those will be up. They will be $65 each plus shipping, and they will be available again on Sunday. Um, anything else? Do we have anything else? Oh, the yes, my coffee is linked literally everywhere. I will put it in the description of this um after I'm done and like upload this and everything for other consumption, but it is Opus LNI like everything else. So I think it's kofi.com/Opus LNI. And if you search it on there, it should come up. I have it like on my link tree, my link in bio on Instagram too. So if you follow me on Instagram, you can get to it from there. Um, the last thing that I wanted to talk about real quick was the event that I'm doing in November, the Tournament of Defense. It is an in-person event that has a really robust COVID policy requiring masks and vaccines. So this is the only reason that I'm actually still doing it, because the numbers in Texas not good right now. Um, but it is a combination. It is a fencing event, so a fencing learning thing. Um, it has two tracks. One of them is the martial track. The other one is the material culture track. And there are a bunch of people on there. I'm teaching. Matthew Nagy from the Modern Maker is teaching. Francis is teaching. Meg Cabot is teaching. Everybody is great. And I am actually really looking forward to taking a couple of classes that are on offer because they look awesome. It is in November. The registration closes October 1st, or yeah, October 1st is, I think, the last day. So if that's something that you might be interested in, it does take place in um, here in Texas. So if that is something that is feasible for you and you are interested, I will make sure that that goes into the description as well. It is not inexpensive, especially for, I think, people get used to who are in the SCA. paying the entrance fee and having classes be free, and the entrance fee is always really low. Um, and so sometimes there is sticker shock that happens with events or like learning opportunities outside of the SCA, because a lot of us are quite spoiled when it comes to the quality of education for the price of admittance, because a lot of people volunteer. Um, which is great, and I do too, so don't think that I'm not, like, all about that life, but, I just wanted to warn everybody who might be coming to this from the perspective of having very inexpensive and easily accessible education in the SCA, that it is not inexpensive, it is also worth it. Um I'm excited about the Texas event. I'm excited too. I hope you come. I hope I get to meet you. I'm really excited. There are actually a couple of my viewers who have said like they're going to either be there or they're planning on being there. Um, Fantastic. I am going to be teaching two classes. I will be teaching a class on the history and practice of gores and godets and gussets. So I'll be talking a little bit about how they factor into rectangular construction, and then we'll be going over how to actually set one. Um, and then the other thing that I'll be doing is a very brief overview of queerness in European history pre-Enlightenment. So um, I have a bunch of things that I still need to read for that, and all of them are really amazing. And I am really excited to finalize all of that. Um, but yeah, so those are the things that I'm going to be doing. Like I said, I will put the information in the description. And if you can make it, I hope to see you there. Yes, please don't feel you need to make a transatlantic or trans-Pacific flight in order to make this event. Like, don't. Oh my goodness. Um, Again, I don't want anyone to feel like, "Oh my gosh, I have to do this in order to be a real fan." You do not. It's okay. And I know also feel the, like, sadness of, "Oh, that's out of my reach." Like, I can't ever go to Penzik because it's just too far, and logistically speaking, it's not a thing that I can do. But, if anybody can make it, that would be cool. Like, no pressure, just information. 3 lifetimes ago, I was at Matthew Nagy's Laurel Vigil. Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic. It's funny because I have a lot of friends who actually know him. I've never met him. Like, we're on a couple of Discords together. We talk sometimes and stuff, about YouTube and costuming and stuff, but I've never actually met him. So I'm really excited that I'm actually good to meet him first face to face. I have to try Penzik once. I have tried Penzik twice. Penzik was actually my first SEA event ever. Funny story. I grew up in New Jersey doing the New Jersey Renaissance Kingdom, which was the only Renaissance festival in New Jersey at that time. And when I turned 18, because you can't go to Penzik without a parent or guardian if you're under 18. When I turned 18, I really wanted to go because a lot of the people who did the Renaissance Festival also did Penzik. Penzik is an SCA war in Western Pennsylvania, so it's not far for me. Um, so I went. I went at 18. I had never really even heard of the SCA before that. Like, I was just focused on the Ren Fair, and it was fun. I had a great time. I had a great time. Possibly like me and my other 18-year-old friend attending Penzik on our own recognizance without any actual like adultier adults, not the smartest thing I could have ever done in my entire life, and I made some really fun bad decisions, with no lasting consequences, but it was a great time. I had a great time, and then I did go again the next year at 19, before I moved all the way across the country to California. It was on our way, actually, we were driving, so we, we stopped off at Penzik as a stop on the way to California. Had a great time. Less great time because I was there with my then boyfriend who didn't really get it and, did not want to have a lot of fun at that point, but I had fun, so whatever. Oh, hello, it's Possumship. I would love to see, Words of Wisdom says, I would love to see a video about the essay and how to start. I can absolutely do that. I can talk about what my experience is and the best place to find resources and the things that you will need and like physical material things to do in order to play. Which isn't much. Like you really don't need much, I promise. But yeah, I will. I'm gonna write that down right under a birthday medieval picnic. SCA newbie vid. All right, it's official. I wrote it down. Um, it's interesting after a 15-year sabbatical to come back in my late 30s. Yeah, it's changed a lot. Things have changed a lot. Um, m- what's funny is my experience in the SCA is not long. I have not been doing this for very long. I had a very swift trajectory in the SCA, partially because I was determined and partially because I had a lot of things going for me when I joined the SCA that made it very easy for me to slot into arts and sciences um, and use those skills that I already had in order to make my work easier in the SCA. Yes, the internet being one of them. Research is so much easier now, I promise, than it was 15 years ago. Oh, oh, Cryptid Crow says the local Scandinavian society has a midsummer festival every year and they have a little Viking reenactment corner, and all of them are super misogynistic and gross. I wish I could say that I was surprised about that. This is my completely unsurprised face. It would also be very unsurprising to me if they were racist as well. Um, the reenactment world in general, and yes, I am going to make a sweeping generalization here, um, has a problem, a racism problem, a misogyny problem. And the way that certain groups like to co-opt certain historical narratives in order to further their own bigoted goals um, is really super problematic. And that happens a lot, right? So that happens a lot in Civil War reenactment. It happens a lot in medieval reenactment. It happens a lot in Roman reenactment. It happens a lot in Viking reenactment. Those are like the four big places that we really have a neo-Nazi problem. And I try really hard to make sure that those people are not welcome in my space. Um, it also has a substance abuse problem. Yeah, I can see that. There is a lot of people being real free with a lot of things. Oh, Renaissance festivals too also have all of those problems. Like that's a big thing as well. Um, I can't really speak as much to substance abuse problems because I don't see them played out on as large a stage as I see the racism and misogyny. But there are a lot of people who feel it necessary to partake in um, unhealthy relationships with substances for very many reasons. I don't want to like make any sweeping generalizations because I know that a lot of that tends to be a coping mechanism for other problems in life that aren't as easily managed for whatever reasons. But racism and misogyny, not a coping mechanism. So I'll make grand sweeping generalizations about that. Uh, let's see. My dad does 1812 reenactment. He runs into that all the time. Yeah, I believe it. There are a lot of reasons that people can get into reenactment, and one of them is with the thought of the appreciation of history, meaning going back to everything about that historical point in time. It's one of the reasons that I lean real strongly, and one of the reasons that I wanted to attain peerage in the SCA was so that I had some of that social cachet and social capital to spend on standing strongly against those things. Because I am a peer, because I am a Laurel, people who may not necessarily have listened to me before I had that social standing um, might listen to me more because I have it. And I try really hard to use that for good. Great responsibility. The SEA has bigger problems too. Absolutely. It absolutely does. And again, that is one of the reasons why I wanted to achieve the platform of peerage so that I could spend that social capital on making trans people and people of color more welcome here, at least in my circle. And I feel very, very strongly about that. A lot of Viking stuff in Europe is very close to Nazis, unfortunately. Yep. Yep. Because the Nazis appropriated a lot of that historical culture to prop up the myth of Aryan purity and Aryan supremacy, and there's a lot of people who still buy into that. I hate it. Thanks. Thanks. I hate it. There is a love affair with binge drinking culture that needs to stop. Yes, I agree that that is. One of the things that I do that I try to do is make sure that there are a mix of available libations in my area. Um, when we did the cozy cocktail party, um, a few weeks ago, I did one non-alcoholic and one alcoholic beverage because I know that there are a lot of reasons that people don't drink, and some of them are medical and some of them are social, and I don't need anybody to tell me why. I don't need anybody to tell me why. And if they need to not drink, then I want them to have as many options as I have available. Um, I would actually even go further than saying that there is a binge drinking culture in reenactment circles. We have a real problem. We have a real problem with normalization of drinking as a valid coping mechanism in at least American society, if not a wider society. Um, One of the people that I follow on TikTok is somebody who investigates ciscore anthropology, and basically one of the things that they got real viral for was examining the phenomenon of the wine mom and the way that plays out on, like, a wider scale of, like, this is the acceptable coping mechanism of drinking wine, and it's not just wine, because how many people drink how much coffee all the time. um and again, this is not me saying that this is me saying that our cultural fascination with these methods of coping is indicative of a wider scale problem, and and I personally want to be as non-judgmental about people seeking the coping mechanisms that they have access to, because at least in America, we don't have a really great track record of making coping mechanisms a healthy and reliable and available thing for a lot of people, whether that's therapy, whether that's, um, medications like for ADHD or, other things. And I'm not going to, it's a little soapbox. I'm not going to get on a big soapbox today. But I hear you. I do hear you. And I do feel like that a lot of the time there is a lot of pressure on people to engage in that social lubrication, and which is one of the reasons I try really hard to make sure that is not a necessity in my circle. Um, mm, mm, mm. I missed a lot of a lot of comments on my soapbox. Sorry. um, oh yes, my family's a mix of Christian, Jewish, pagan, and the neo portion of my family makes me angry with their behavior. Um, I yeah, it's a really hard thing to reconcile, and I have um there are a few of us who do some Viking things, and I'm getting T-shirts for us made that say "No Nazis in Valhalla," because I don't want people to see the things that I do and to assume that I agree with them, um, because it's that assumption that makes it easier for them to speak, and I want them never to speak ever. So I just need people to know that that's not my platform. Um, I'm so glad that people like you exist. Oh, thank you, Rachel. I'm so glad. I'm starting to get involved with the SCA. Fantastic. If you ever want to DM me on Instagram and talk about it or ask about it, like whatever, I'm always here for that. Um, Someone who's been sober for over 3 years, thank you for having non-alcoholic. Absolutely. Again, there's a lot of reasons why people don't drink or choose not to drink. There are times I do drink. I like a drink. And there are evenings where I'm like, you know what, I'm not feeling it. I don't want anything like that tonight. I'll just, have something else. And so I um, want to make sure that that's available for everyone. Vintage style, not vintage values. Yes, yes. Dandy Wellington had that right. Vintage style, not vintage values. Absolutely. Um, I could put that on merch. No, no Nazis in Valhalla. You know what? Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I would have to figure out the best way to do that. Probably something like Shop Envy or something where I could just put the link and then people could buy it directly from there instead of me making them. But yeah, like I know Nazis in Valhalla. Fucking ever, ever. Um, Being hungover at war is the worst. Yeah, remember how I said I made questionable choices at Penzic? Being hungover at war is the worst, and I can tell you that from experience. Don't do that at all. It's horrible. Drink lots of water. Jennifer says, not to mention the panini removing a bunch of acceptable coping mechanisms. That is also true. Not only are things are messed up in supply lines. So even people who have medical coping mechanisms often find it more difficult right now to be able to reliably get those things. Um, I want one of your shirts. Okay, okay, okay. I will make them. I promise, promise, promise. I will design them and I will make them. And there will be no Nazis in Valhalla t-shirts available. I gotta write that down. No Nazis in Valhalla merch. Now it's official. I wrote that one down too. In any case, it has been an hour and a half, and I have drank way too much tea for the afternoon. So I think probably I'm going to wrap it up. Sorry, zoned out. What's the shirt gonna say? No Nazis in Valhalla, because that's how we roll here. Um, if I do it on Teespring, make sure it can go on a mask. Yes. So I'm thinking like I'll research a couple of different sites that do like one design, many products, so people can get it on whatever they want. Um, my first event is tomorrow. Yay! I'm so excited. I like tag me in pictures of you at the event. Like that's fantastic. I would love to see them and I will repost them in my stories so that everyone else can see them too. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I'm Opus LNI everywhere. You can follow me there. That would be great. Bree, yes, on a mask would be great for events. One of the reasons that I wanted to do t-shirts specifically, um, yes, there will be more than just t-shirts. I actually don't wear t-shirts. I usually wear like something like this. But I will make sure that there are more things available, whether that's on like tote bags or other things for people who might not be able to find um, who have sizing issues or who want things just other than clothing. So yes, I promise, I promise. Um, I don't remember what I was going to say. I was going to ask if anybody had any questions or anything that they wanted me to say before I sign off. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, this is suggestion box time. Yes, totes. That's what I was thinking. Like, oh, that's what I was gonna say. I wanted something that I could wear while setting camp up. Or look, if you Tanya, if you want to mix me a no Nazis and Valhalla tea, I will put it on my coffee and we can talk about that later. Profit sharing or whatever. Like, um, wonderful. Oh, I love you, Harold. My life is better because you're in it. I promise. My life is better because all of you are in it, not just Harold. I mean, Harold is wonderful and I know him in real life, which is, why I get all like verklempt. But I'm so grateful to all of you and for all of you. Um, I can't even tell you how amazing this whole channel has been. You're all fabulous and I love you all. Embroidery pattern. Oh yeah, like I could totally do that. Maybe like embroidery kits or something. Um, in any case, I think I'm going to sign off. Feel free to continue leaving comments on here, or again, like DMs are open on Instagram. I generally chat with anybody who will message me. So thank you all for spending some time with me today. This was great, and I can't wait until we do it again.